Well, good evening, afternoon, or good morning, whenever you happen to be looking at this podcast. And welcome. Let me just say that out of all the choices that you had today, because there are so many podcasts out there, so many choices. You can look at the news, you can look at a weather podcast, you can look at inspirational podcasts, you can look at spiritual or religious podcasts, or you can look at ghost hunters podcasts. All of them out there, but none quite like this podcast. It's All Stories Matter. And my name is Marvinetta Woodley Penn. For those of you who've heard me before, you know my story. You know that I'm new to Kalamazoo, but I've been doing this podcast since January or February of 2024. And I'm so happy to have had the honor and pleasure of interviewing interesting, phenomenal people doing remarkable things in the city of Kalamazoo. Although a few weeks ago, I did interview one of my girlfriends that I grew up with, I went to college with, but she is doing an incredible journey. She's on an incredible journey in her life. After she got cancer, she survived breast cancer. She thrived. No, she didn't survive. She thrived breast cancer. And now she's scuba diving. And she's in a movie about scuba diving, so you know I had to tell her story. So today, I am so honored to have an incredible young man here in the studio with me, and he's going to tell us his story. He thinks he's just going to tell a small part of his story, but guess what? You know me. If you've seen this show before, you know I'm just going to politely and with a smile ask these probing questions, and before he knows it, he will be down that rabbit hole of his life. So without further ado, because I'm slipping over my words, I want to introduce you to Mr. Darius Quinn. Darius, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
That's one of the things I teach my young people. When someone asks you how you are, I'm well. It's a three-part answer.
That's true.
I'm well. Thank you for asking. How are you?
Yeah.
I tell them that good is the quality of a thing. It's the way you describe a thing.
You know, I knew that,
Yeah.
and I still do good because I have it. It's funny because
Yeah.
if I hear someone else do it, I'll be like, I think they meant well.
Yeah, I'm well. And
Yeah.
you'd be surprised how people will treat you when you're in certain circles. If it's just a habit of saying I'm well, you get a whole different reaction.
Different response.
You
yeah. They're not
really
used to
have you
it.
seen that?
I have not because everyone says good, but I do think about it because I've heard this same thing before. I don't know because sometimes I feel like I'm just good.
You know what? If you say I'm well, guess what? You start feeling well.
You think so?
Our words
Speak
create
into
our
existence.
reality. That's right. That's right.
Well,
True.
from here on out,
Oh, here we go.
it'll be well.
And then most of the time I say I am wonderfully well because I am. I love it. Darius, we have had some great conversations before we started the camera rolling, before the podcast actually began. So I want to make sure we talk about some of those things. But before we do, tell me your story, wherever you want to start. And I'll go back if
Sure.
Spirit leads me.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm born and raised in Kalamazoo. I've been here my whole life.
Really?
I keep getting encouraged. A lot of people don't think I'm from here. It is interesting. I get Chicago. I get New York. I get sort of those kind of cities.
Yeah, I would imagine that you came from the East Coast.
Yeah, no, I'm born and raised here.
Born and raised. So how did your parents get here?
My mother, born and raised here.
How did her mother get here?
My grandmother is from Tallahassee, I believe.
Florida?
No, I'm sorry. No, she's not from Tallahassee, Florida. I don't know why I said Tallahassee. She's from Tennessee.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, but I don't remember where.
Okay.
And I don't know how they got here.
Okay.
They told me the story once. She had dementia for a long time.
Okay.
And she passed away a couple years ago. And I remember sitting at her house one day because I have this idea of a story that's about her life because it's pretty interesting. And so I was just asking her, but she she could only remember certain pieces.
Right.
So I don't remember how she got here. My sister would probably remember. My mother would obviously know, but my sister.
Yeah.
My sister,
Dig. Start asking those questions.
Yeah. But she's from. I think it's Tennessee.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't know how they. I don't know why they came here. To be honest with you.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been here my whole life, and it's interesting. I always feel like I should leave. I just don't know where I'd want to go.
Really?
Yeah, because I just we talked before this started about me being introverted, and I really feel like I would thrive in seclusion. Because
in seclusion, just in another city, secluded in another city,
like somewhere where it's not like a city life. Like Kalamazoo is kind of a city life,
Really?
Not like a Chicago or a big city, but it's
so interesting.
If you want to do something, you have to come downtown, essentially, right? There's not a lot of. We have trails and stuff, but I just think like I picture myself on a house with some acres and like a couple of my dogs and my partner, and like that's it. Like, and then they're like, "Where's Darius? We don't know. He just pops up occasionally." That's what I mean. I genuinely enjoy my peace. I try to protect it at least.
Okay.
But
is that where you do your creating?
When I'm creating, I look like a mad person because I pace a lot. And I've always done this. When we were younger, we were in the house, and my sister would see me pacing. She'd go, "What you writing?" Because I would just be pacing, and I'm just talking to myself, getting steps in back and forth, just pacing. So
that is so interesting.
And I do that anywhere. I do it at work. I do it at home. I do it on my way to the bathroom at a restaurant. I talk to myself. I do it in a dressing room. Like a fitting room at a clothing store. I'll just be in there talking to myself.
So you're working it all out, but you're just working it out verbally.
Yeah, I talk to myself.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, I do.
Is it positive talk, or is it just working through things?
It's just working through ideas, working through conversations I might have to have later. I play multiple characters when I'm talking to myself. If I'm preparing for a podcast, I'm like, okay, they may ask this, and then I'm going to tell them I'll do this, but then I might, it's just stuff like that.
So give me a scenario. Give me something that you thought, she might ask
for
this.
instance, it's like, I said, she's going to ask me to tell about myself. And I'm like, where do I start? I'm born and raised in Kalamazoo, and that's really all I've got. It'll branch off from there, and that's just how I like approach.
Okay.
But I'll be like, man, she's going to ask me about this. Okay, like. And then it's like, do I want to talk about the community? I'll talk about the community. And then it's like, I try to give myself, I'm really bad at it still, but I try to give myself like a 24-hour rule where it's like, if I'm really upset about something, I try to wait a day before I respond to it. Or I'll type it out, see how I feel after I typed it out, walk away from it, come back in a couple of hours. If it's like an email, for instance.
Yes.
Come back to it in a couple of hours, and then decide if the language is necessary. And so
that's a lesson I need to learn.
It's tough.
I've tried to do it because that's like, what did you just say? What did you just do?
Yeah.
Woo! That fire comes out of me.
And I've learned in the past that sometimes I'm wrong. Like sometimes I'll respond to something that I read the tone incorrectly.
Yeah.
And then I'll respond. And then they'll respond not saying that I was wrong, but more like their tone is different. And then I go, oh, maybe they weren't saying it like that. Oops. And so now I just kind of go, you know what? This thing just pissed me off. I'm gonna try to wait. And so sometimes I'll type it out on my notes.
Yes.
I'll type out a text I might want to send somebody. And then I'll just leave it there in the notes app.
Yeah.
And then in a couple hours, if I still feel that way, I'll go copy it, paste it,
put it
in the text, whatever it is. So I try to do better about that. But the conversations I have with myself is the same thing. It's like, if I'm upset about a thing, I'll have this conversation with myself to make sure it doesn't sound irrational. And then if I sound too angry even to myself, I'll start amending and redoing it.
Okay.
So
and that works for you.
I'm getting better at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So did you guys hear that? When you are upset and you have the option of communicating over text or email, the best thing to do, or an option for you, might be to type it out, either in a note, walk away from it, come back to it after you've had a cup of tea, or you listened to some soothing music, or you did a little meditation. Come back to it. I would read the original email.
I do, yeah. I
And
reread it.
then read the email that
Oh, the one that sparked it.
sparked my response, and then look at my response again.
Usually my response is like a paragraph longer than the original. Original is like
Oh,
usually
wow.
a sentence. You know, it's like,
Oh, wow. And you give a paragraph?
yeah, you know, if like, I'll give you an example. We were
Okay.
on our last film shoot, and the location that we had 2 locations that we had secured, and but the person who had the second location was starting to get a little weird about things. They were starting to, they were worried that the electricity bill would skyrocket because we were using lights. But my camera guy, who does this for a living,
Yes.
he sent me a write-up. He said, listen, man, even if we use our most powerful light at its most powerful strength, it would cost like, I think it was like less than $1 or $2. And that was, in the scenario, in what we were filming, we weren't going to use the most powerful light.
Yeah.
And we weren't going to be at its highest power. So I sent this to her just to be like, listen, I promise you, you're not going to see a spike in your bill. We're only going to be in your place for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, I think we had the location for 2 or 3 hours, but we were only going to be, you know, most of that is setting up, getting there, setting
Indeed,
up.
indeed.
So it was like the lights would be on for like, you know, maybe 25 minutes, 30 minutes max. And they tried to do this thing where they were like, well, how about this? How about if my utility bill comes in and it's higher than it usually is, you guys pay the difference? And I was like, well, then I would need to see what your utility bill has been for at least the last year,
Yes.
6 months to a year, so I
Do
can
a comparison.
How do I know, right?
And how do I know that you've not been running the lights
that you've been
24
just doing
hours
stuff to get more money.
Because you know that.
Exactly. And we said that. And then the other thing was, that's just the electricity. Your utility bill is everything. So how do I know which part of that is the electricity part? Okay, so we were, so it was a thing, and the connection was through my producer. And so
Yes.
the day of our first day, I get a text from the person who owned the apartment, and they said,
Yes.
I just don't feel comfortable doing it anymore. And we're supposed to shoot there the next day, right? And I'm,
Oh my gosh.
I like to say I become my mother when I get upset, because my mother is very sharp.
Yes.
It's just like, and it's not mean, but it is sharp. It's to
Yes.
the point, you
Right.
know? And
Yes.
So I got upset. And in that moment, though, I took a breath. Because I'm in the middle of something else. I got 15 other crew members. I got 4 actors. I got people waiting on me. I got extras. So I walked over to my producer. I showed her the text, and I said, can you please respond to this? Yes. Because I won't respond to it politely. And also, this is your contact.
Yes.
So, you know,
you handle it.
you do that. And she said, you go do that. I got this. But that, you know, that took me, let me back up.
Yes.
I give my producer this credit.
Yes.
I was sitting there typing it out, and she says, what are you doing? And I said, I'm just typing out my response.
Yes.
You can fix it. And so I typed out my thoughts about what was happening.
Yes.
And then I said, you take it and you fix it. You make it sound whatever you want it to sound. This is my raw thoughts. But I don't have time to sit here and tell you my thoughts, because I've got
Yes.
this going on. So here are my raw thoughts. I sat there and I typed it out, and then I let her amend, and then she sent it off. And I don't know what happened after that, and I don't care. But
So you guys had to find another
we
location?
found another location in the 9th inning, which was okay. We worked it out, and it ended up being pretty cool.
Good.
So you
good.
know, yeah, we worked around it, and I didn't panic somehow. I just kind of went with, it'll work out.
Yes, but it kind of took you off your square for a minute. That's
Yeah.
For for a minute.
For a
'Cause
hot second, I was annoyed, but
Yeah.
I looked around and I was like, well, we got a whole, I got 20 some odd people here waiting on me, so we got to get back to work.
I got to get back on it. I got to get back on it. That is so awesome. Guys out there, when you are in a pinch, but you are in the stream, you're in the flow of doing what you do, it's so important to be able to take a breath, see what you see the situation as clearly as you can in that moment. Take a breath. I like that you wrote it down. You wrote your first thoughts. And then you gave it to somebody
said,
else.
hey.
You handled this.
Yeah, because
Right now?
I was over there like, I think my wife was there too. She said, do not send whatever you're writing. I'm like,
I can tell.
hold on.
I can tell that this is not postage ready. No.
When you're having conversations with people and you're telling people things and then they keep finding new things to be upset about.
Yeah.
I think that in that moment, what I was upset was not that they canceled. What I was upset about was that all these concerns came 2 or 3 days before the shoot. And I felt like if you were sitting on these concerns, there was other concerns. There was like they didn't want more than 5 people in the place at once. And it's like, how the heck am I supposed to pull that off? Like I got the costume person who's got to be in there. I got the light. I got the camera guy. I got my assistant director. I got the grips and the gaffers who got to be in there to set the lights up. I got the actor themselves. I got production assistant. Like, I mean, what do you mean? Like I can only have 5 people. Like,
They don't understand the process.
Which was worse because they studied film in school.
You're come on. I'm trying to find every excuse possible.
They said I studied film, so I know how much these things cost. And I'm going, I don't think you paid attention then because if you did study, you understand that I need more than 5 people. And we were going to work it out. We were like, fine, if that's your requirement. We were talking about how we would switch on and off with people. We'll put the costume designer in, and we'll put this person out while the costume designer is getting ready for their thing. And then we'll do this, and then when we're shooting, it'll just be the 4 of us. And we had it worked out because we were like, we'll respect the wishes. But then, not wanting to work with us is so. But yeah, I just remember like telling myself that I can type this out, but I can't send it.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
So what do you think you got that part of your personality where you knew to take a pause?
First of all, therapy. Therapy helped,
Oh.
Yeah, I've been doing therapy for, I don't even know now, maybe 2 years, maybe.
Oh.
So therapy helped me with like just talking about anger and responding to anger.
Okay. What led to you going to therapy?
Just because, I think everybody should have therapy. It's just kind of, just a way of taking those things where I'm talking to myself and being able to just vent them to somebody who is paid to listen to you.
I was about to say, it's paid.
You know what I mean? Like, and
have an objective.
Yeah, exactly.
No bias, no.
Well, let me know.
Agenda,
My therapist gets hard on me sometimes. And
Okay.
I go, thank you.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah.
And I need it because when I hear it from peers, you just don't receive it the same way.
Indeed.
And I think it's because we just have a different way of talking about it with our peers. We just don't. We don't. There's a certain way of having a conversation, and I do have peers that I can have a conversation with like that, and it's amazing. Some that I can vent to, and I'm just like, man, listen to this thing. But I think oftentimes when we come to our peers, sometimes I think they have to agree with us.
Yes.
And so, you've got that non-objective, that biased opinion coming from an outsider who's just listening to what you're saying. And
are they really listening to all of it? Are they reading the body language?
Not our friends, not our peer. The therapist is.
The therapist is, because the therapist has been trained.
Exactly.
I'm a communication skills expert.
It's amazing.
I'm an expert, yes.
I believe you. I believe you.
And I'm trying to get Kalamazoo Public Schools to understand why they need to incorporate it. It needs to be not an elective class, but it has to be a required class. class
What,
that
like a therapy
every young
or
no,
communications?
communication
Okay.
skills. Because if you understand how you're communicating, the importance of your communication, you better understand other people. And you
Absolutely.
have much more insight into yourself.
I had an English professor tell me once. She said, because I used to like to argue a lot in school. I think that's what also caused me to start just being a little different about the way I move. Because it's not that I like to argue with people. It's that I like to
Yes.
have conversations about a thing,
Yes.
even if we disagree. I think
Yeah.
that's amazing.
I think it's
that's
healthy.
I agree, but then what happens is if I get too passionate about it, then it always didn't make me feel good. It made me feel like people were kind of like bothered by the conversation I'm having. And it could be something as simple as like me debating the plot of a movie. It could be just like, I don't think they needed to do that. And then people going, and it's so interesting because everyone says I love to argue, but usually 9 times out of 10, the debate sparks because they disagreed with me. And it was like they wanted to just disagree and then to just move on. But
And
I'm like,
if you're going to disagree with me, delineate your arguments. Specifically, tell me why you disagree with me so that we can have a conversation and I can express my perspective on this. You can express your perspective on it. We can try to say, oh, I see your point.
That's
or
what I try to do, but then they just end up saying that I just like to argue. And I'm like,
'Cause you're dealing with pigeons.
But we were having a conversation about I said that I said I think that the chair is green, and you said it's yellow, and I'm like, okay, so why do you think that this chair is yellow, right? But like the initial thing that started this debate was you disagree with just a comment that I said, which I think is great. But then I want to have a conversation about it because like that's fun to me. And one of the things I talked about in therapy was this idea that I feel like sometimes I have conversations to spark the idea, just to talk about this thing.
Indeed.
Like I'll say, you ever thought about why, X, Y, Z, and it's really just to talk about it, like just to bounce this idea.
Yeah, just to engage in the back and forth.
People are uninterested in the conversation
because they're pigeons.
I know we talked about being an eagle, but but it's just like it was frustrating for a long time because I'm like, wow, like is everybody just disinterested in this thing I'm trying to talk about? Like I really, and again, it could be something as minute as a movie subject. It could be.
Yes.
Don't you think this plot would have been better if this character was this instead of that?
Oh man,
and
that's a great.
Yeah. So it's tough.
No. Barry Manilow has a song called "I Made It Through the Rain."
Okay.
Listen to that.
Barry Manilow.
Barry, I will email it to you or text it, whatever. But you have to listen to that Barry. Every time I would listen to this Barry Manilow song, I would cry toward the end.
I probably heard it.
I made it through the rain. I felt so disrespected. I made it through the rain and found myself respected by others who God rained on too and made it through.
Interesting.
In this world,
I feel like
there
Barry
will be
Manilow gets so
many
much hate.
people. He does.
I think he does.
Because he's authentically Barry Manilow.
Yeah.
And he's going to follow whatever his dream is, whatever he wants to do, whatever his heart tells him to do. I don't care if it's to have another facelift. Go, Barry. Get your other facelift. Do whatever you want. Just keep producing beautiful music. And not enough people are willing to take the time to listen to beautiful melodies and then study those lyrics. But you're a word person. You're a creative. Not everybody's a creative.
It's so funny you say that because it's the discourse behind when I listen to music, I listen to everything.
Yes.
Except not everything. I can't get into heavy metal or like scream. I accidentally ended up at a screamo concert one time.
Accidentally?
Yeah, my best friend, shout out to Chance. I'll never let him live this one down. He knows. He was a part of a talent show, but like we didn't know that the talent show was mostly like screamo stuff. And we get there, and it's in Plainwell, Michigan, which is like nothing there, kind of. No disrespect to Plainwell, but kind of hickish.
Yeah, we're not dumping on you Plainwell,
No,
but you know who you are.
Just my experiences. And we're in the middle of nowhere, and it's just like these hard rock dudes, and it was just awful. And it was so bad. We were like, I don't know, what did you get us into? And we had to wait it out because it was like I think it was a competition, so we had to wait to see if he won anything. And I'll never let him live that one down. But yeah, that's why I say accidentally, because we had no idea we signed up for that. But I listen to everything. I genuinely do.
Okay.
And sometimes if I'm recommending a song to people, I think that the first thing that people listen to is the sonic of it, like the music and what it does to them. But oftentimes, I'm really on the words. I'm really on what the words are vibing with. And so when I listen to a song or an album, before I decide if I like it or not, I listen to it 2 or 3 times. Because the first time is just an overall feel.
Yeah.
How do I feel about this as a general?
Yeah.
Then the second time is the music itself and the melodies and the sonic of of the arrangements. Then I get into the words. If I think the music is good enough, then I go back to what are they saying? And so I have like a 3-step process, and that came about because I judged albums too quickly before. I listened to it, and I said, oh, shit. And then kept listening to it. Because back when we had CDs, right, I didn't feel like changing the CD all the time. So it was just on a repeat. And so all of a sudden, this album that I didn't really love, I go, man, this is growing on me. But it's just because, but in the digital age now, it's like, we just listen to an album on Spotify and then we go right back to whatever else we're listening to. So the CD age kind of forced me to, I might have had like a 5-disc chamber, but I didn't feel like using it. I just kind of kept one CD in there and it gets scratched up. And I remember just thinking like, I judged this way too soon. And so now because of that, I listen to everything if I'm interested. If I'm really not interested, I'll know. It's just like, or like I liked it, but it came out in 1970, so maybe I'll come back to it. It's not important that I love it right this moment.
But does a certain song just resonate with you when you first
time I hear
first time you hear it?
It happens, absolutely. Sometimes I just be like, "What is this?" That happened the other day. I don't know anything about the band. The band is Bleachers. I know about the lead singer and the producer, but I heard a song just randomly scrolling. I've never heard any of their music, but I heard the song and I said, is this what their music sounds like? And you know what? I got too nervous that it doesn't sound like that, so I haven't listened to anything yet. Because I'm like, I don't want this to be that one song that I like, and then I'm like, oh no, nothing else sounds like this. But I also don't like that. I am vehemently against artists who repeat themselves.
Yes.
Especially musicians who make the same sound over and over.
Find a groove, and then they just want to keep replicating it.
I think I tell people all the time, I say, if we talk about the greats, let's just use Michael Jackson. Off the Wall does not sound like Thriller.
You got that right.
Does not sound like Bad.
But you know what? He has some amazing writers.
But they all sound like Michael Jackson.
They're all Michael Jackson.
But they're not the same album.
Because he had some amazing writers,
so
composers.
And I think that is the thing with younger people or the newer generation. We're writing our own records, which I think is amazing. But then you run the risk of the repetitiveness of the sound, and you're not switching your producer. I mean, even Off the Wall and Thriller were both and Bad were all produced by Quincy Jones, but they still don't sound like the same album.
They don't.
And I'm just like, how do people listen to this music and go, yeah, this is my inspiration, Michael Jackson. I'm going, really? Because I heard all 4 of your albums, and they sounded like one big album of the same.
Oh boy.
And so yeah, I really think musicians, and Frank Ocean's another example. Frank Ocean's Blonde and Channel Orange are so different, but they sound like the same artist made them, just in different phases of his life.
Oh,
and
wow.
I think that more, and so it's beautiful because you can have a conversation about those two things differently. You're not comparing them because they can't be compared. They're just too different to compare. Only thing you're comparing is the artist made an album.
Yes.
Right? And so I just think that more artists should just really try to do something different, but that's still them. Right, the last film I wrote won't be anything like the next film I write.
Yes, for sure.
If I kept doing the same thing, they'd be like, "Yeah, that's cool and all, but you kind of did that last time."
That's boring.
Yeah,
we know you. We know what to expect, and that's the worst thing you can do.
I'm gonna keep
is
you on
have
your toes.
something to. I know what's going to happen next. No,
you have no idea.
My role model, because I'm older than you, is Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder's the greatest musician ever lived.
He's in a category by himself.
I agree, and
Every
I was
time
use
you
him
have
too.
Every time he came out with something, it's like, what? Now what is this? Oh my gosh.
Stevie Wonder does not. I can't use him because that's a mountain that just like you can't reach that. My favorite song in the world is by Stevie Wonder, which is "Ass."
Oh, yeah.
I have "Songs in the Key of Life" tattooed on my arm.
Oh my God.
So, I
Goosebumps.
and when people talk about the greatest music, when people talk about the Beatles, who I think is a little overrated, I'll say that on this podcast. I don't care.
That's okay.
I do believe it. I think that they're good, but I think that the same people should be talking about Stevie Wonder the same way.
That's even more so.
Even more, and they don't, and it irritates me because it's not that the Beatles are overrated. I think the conversation about the Beatles gets overrated because Stevie Wonder was doing the same thing by himself, playing all his instruments, writing all his songs, arranging all the music by himself.
Yes.
But also speaking about things going on in the world. And made it catchy. But the number one pet peeve I have with people in Stevie Wonder is that they romanticize "Isn't She Lovely?" That song is about a newborn baby. The fact that it gets played at weddings, I get it, because it's a jam. But like people romanticize a song about a newborn baby, and I'm like, you guys do realize that he's talking about a child, right? Like the song is about his daughter. And if you listen to the actual album, there's a whole skit on there where he's like,
"Life is Naisha, the meaning of her name. I can't believe what God has done, giving life to one."
And they be jamming to it at weddings, and I'm like, this is cool, but like I don't understand why you guys do this. It drives me mad.
Because most people are pigeons, and they don't even realize.
They're not even paying attention. And it is a jam. Don't get me wrong. It is a great song to dance to. I get it.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you listen.
Because you're not. You're an eagle.
Stevie Wonder's my guy. Yeah.
But we have spent 30 minutes already, and you told me that you were an introvert.
I told you that I can talk, though. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm introverted in the sense that I don't want to be around people. I just don't enjoy it. Like small talk really makes me, it makes me very uncomfortable. You see somebody saying, you know them from just the community, and like, how you doing?
Yeah.
I'm good, man. How are you? I'm well. How you doing? Yeah. I'm all right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. What you working on lately? Oh yeah, nothing. I mean, see, it's just me talking. This is how I do it.
Yeah.
What you working on? Oh, you know. And then I'm so secretive about what I'm working on because I don't want to jinx things. So like if I'm working on something that's not finished and I have no idea how it's gonna go, I hold it close to my chest and I just and then you have and then I'm like, oh okay, yeah man, yeah we're doing this thing over there. Oh okay, cool, yeah. I'm gonna go grab that old fashioned, I just, and I think it's because I'm socially awkward sometimes. I can talk, and I enjoy talking to people when there's something that we're talking about.
Yes,
I enjoy stimulating conversations. I just don't enjoy politicking. And my sister's nickname for me is the governor because I walk into a room and I just start working the room. But I don't do it intensely. I just walk in. I'm like, what's going on, man? How's your daughter doing? All right, cool. Yeah. Oh, man, what's going on? Last time I saw you working on that, that grant proposal. How'd that go? Like, that's what I...
That's wonderful. That's a great skill to have.
I know, but then it makes people think that I like to do that. Like, that I like to talk. And I don't. I can. I just don't,
You can, and you know how to turn it on and off. And that's the thing with a lot of extroverts... Introvert, extrovert.
That's what I always say.
Is that you can exhaust your extrovert energy. You only have a limited supply of introvert, extrovert energy. And then you have to go back. Yeah. And it's like I have to charge this battery.
Absolutely.
Because I have run down my battery.
Absolutely.
I broke my toe Friday. So, I had
damaged my toe. Is this an example or you actually broke your toe?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I had damaged it in a crazy accident. I damaged it, kind of jammed it, and then I was out someplace Friday, and somebody stepped on that toe.
Oh.
Somebody stepped on the same toe that was damaged. So I heard a little crunch when it happened. So I had a tap class Saturday, and I was like, Lord, just let me get there. Just let me get there. And I was hobbling around the house. I'm like, I'm not going to do this. And I'm not going to do this to my body. So I was forced to just be in the house 2 days, 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. But it was one of the best weekends that I've had because I was able to complete a project that I've been putting off for a long time. But getting back to your story, sometimes we have to go back and recharge. So I wouldn't say you're an introvert totally, an extrovert, introvert, but pigeons, I don't suffer fools lightly or kindly. I just don't. If you bring nothing to the table for this wonderful meal we're going to have, and you bring nothing, and I'm bringing my A game, and then it's just not a match. And
then it's not me thinking that I'm, more intelligent or anything than anybody that I'm talking to. It's just it has to be a conversation that I am interested in having, especially at that moment.
Indeed.
It's not about the person that I'm talking to sometimes. It's just about the conversation we're having.
The conversation is just not worth it.
Yeah, I'm like,
it's not worth the mental energy.
Yeah.
Because I'm not getting anything else. It needs to be a give and take.
Yeah,
that's life, a give and take. And that can be a beautiful dance with anybody at any time if it's that real.
Sometimes I just want to be like, yeah, just what's up? What's up,
yeah.
bro? All right, good seeing you. Moving on.
Okay.
If I could, I'd stand in public places with my headphones all the time. I'd just stand there listening to things, pretend I can't hear you. They walk by and they start talking.
Especially if you know what the conversation is going to be about.
Especially if it's just a person. I'm like,
yeah.
I feel like doing this, man. And I don't like being fake. And there's a difference between like being fake and just not feeling the energy of a person. Where you have to like. There's a certain person in town that if I like run into, I'm just like, man, let's just go somewhere else. Like I don't feel like this dude asking me questions. I don't feel like me pretending I want to answer them. I don't want to talk to you, man. And why can't that be okay? Why can't that just be okay?
That's okay.
We know mutually, so just like
we know it.
We know
that's something we
don't have to do this.
We don't have to pretend.
You know what I mean? I walk by you. What's up? Keep moving.
Keep it moving.
It. I don't need you to ask me what I'm working on. People love asking me what I'm working on, which I love.
Because they respect you.
Exactly.
They do respect you as a creative.
I think so. I hope so.
And
I hope so.
Just accept it. They respect you as a creative.
You sound like
your therapist.
No, you sound like my wife. She's just accept it.
Just accept it.
And I'm like, well, I have a hard time with that because I'm like, I've always just sort of been, I just do my thing and then I move back.
Yeah.
My brother said to me the other day, he says, man, I feel like every time you enter a film festival or something, you win something. And I said, that's so interesting you feel that way because I feel like I never win. And so,
why are you so hard on yourself?
No, I genuinely feel like I never win. I know the results of my stuff. It's just that what happens is I'll win something eventually. And then to my brother, to my family, they're like, dang, you want something else? But I'm like, oh, but you didn't see all the rejections. I got 19 rejections and then I won one. And then I got 19 more rejections and then we got something else. I'm like
that's the game you are in.
Absolutely.
That's the game.
But they don't see that part. So
they don't have to.
I think that's why my response was like, really? Because I feel like I don't win anything. Like I got the emails. They all say the same thing. Thank you for submitting. Unfortunately, due to high volume,
because
blah, blah, blah.
You know what they want. People want something that everybody else has done. Most people they want to feel this formula, but we got to talk about your story. We are going back, but this is a part of your story.
This is a part of my story.
This is a huge part of your story. I know that you were born in Kalamazoo, and I just heard that you're married, which is great. And I know that you are an account manager because we talked about that before. And now I know you're a filmmaker. Yeah. Where'd you go to school? Where'd you go to elementary school and high school? And what was that experience like in Kalamazoo?
I went to Spring Valley elementary.
Okay.
Which was great. It's the last time I truly remember being happy in life. I talked about this in therapy too. Like 6th grade is like the last time I remember like really like feeling like the future is bright. And then I went to Maple Street Magnet School. And the year I went, it turned into a magnet school because it was just south. And then the year I went to Maple Street in 2000, man, I'm dating myself. I was in middle school in 2002. And so that was the year it became a magnet school. And Maple Street was a magnet school for the arts, which was amazing for me because I can't think of anything else I'd be doing today.
Oh, wonderful.
So all the curriculum was geared towards art. You know? And my 7th grade, so when I went to middle school, it was still 7th and 8th grade. I think now it's like 6th, 7th, 8th. That would have given me anxiety. Thinking about school now gives me anxiety, but like being a 6th grader and got 8th graders and they're teenagers,
that's too much.
and it's too much for me.
That's too much.
Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah.
But when I was in 7th grade, we did we had an assignment in the English class to write a rap or a poem about our favorite holiday. And then what the teacher did was she took all the best ones from the class. I don't know if she took the best ones. I don't really know how she did it because I'm sure she didn't tell a kid that it wasn't good. So I don't know how she did it, but she took a group of us and she made us into a rap group, and we performed these raps at different like events during school programs. And then I just formed into us having a rap group. So then I started really getting into rap when I was 12, and I remember. When you first get into something, you just want to dive deep. And my dad had all these CDs, and I heard The Chronic was great. So I was like, well, how do I listen to The Chronic? So I go in there, I say, hey, can I listen to The Chronic? My mom said, absolutely not. I said, what do you mean? I said, nah, the content on there is just not for a 12-year-old. And I said, okay. So I left, and I was upset. I'm upset, okay?
Yes.
And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, no. I'm not going to accept this. My brother, who was 5 years younger than me, so at this point he's like 7, knew Friday top to bottom, okay? He loves Friday, okay? He knows all the words. So I walk in my mom's room. I said, Mom, brother is 7, and he knows all the words to Friday. And I don't see how Friday is any worse than whatever they're saying on The Chronic. I remember my dad looked at her. He said, damn. And my mom said, damn. And she gave me the album.
That's where you learn the power of conversation and arguments. Of stating your case, having somebody respond, oh, I hear what you're saying. I hear your perspective. I respect what you're saying. I'm going to give in. I'm going to acquiesce because you beat me.
My mother's always been she's always been fair.
See,
Tough
that's
but fair,
where your love of conversation and your disappointment, I'm not going to say disappointment, but your impatience with people who don't understand, that is the value of a conversation.
Comes from my mother, for sure.
Yes.
Of the three of us, I'm the most like her, they say.
Oh.
I don't know if I agree, but they
Of course you wouldn't.
But yeah, so then I got into hip hop, and then I just kind of dove into that and so I went to Maple Street Magnet School. Then we moved to Comstock High School in my high school year, which was a shift because I'd come from KPS to Comstock, so I didn't know anybody, so I had to meet new people, make new friends. And high school was okay. I was the same way I am now. I literally went to our 10-year reunion, and I'm looking around going, I don't know half these people. And my friends going, what do you mean? We went to school with them. And I'm like, bro, I know we did in theory, but I didn't interact with anybody. I just was like that. I just kind of kept to myself.
What did you do?
I wrote a lot. And I had my group of friends, but I wrote and I drew a lot. And that was it. I kept to myself. I had people in school.
So
I
high
didn't
school
like.
was not a good experience.
High school was fine. I think high school was fine, but when high school's catty, petty.
Oh yeah.
And when you're in the music and you're in the hip hop and everyone thinks they're in the hip hop, and you got those things going on, and Comstock wasn't big enough to just have those kind of beefs with people because you see them in the hallway. It just was weird. But high school was okay. I was just very
very different.
I just was quiet. I mean, I just wrote a lot, and I like I said, I wrote and I drew. That's all I would do in high school.
So how did you, I'm only cutting you off because this is so very interesting, but I've got to get to the present. No, but it's wonderful. Thank you so much.
In the film?
how did you get into film?
I got into film because my first job was at a movie theater, and I knew nothing, not nothing, but I didn't watch movies the way that some of my coworkers did. So they were talking about movies, and I'm like, man, I don't know what the hell are these people talking about. So I started to get into it more. And then what really happened was, and I think this was part of my build-up, was when we were doing music, we would do music videos and stuff. So
okay.
We were always shooting music videos, and
nice.
I was into music, I was into poetry, I was into fashion and style, and I was into drawing. But I didn't want to do any of it for an actual living.
Okay.
And so film was that vessel. Because my poetry, my background in writing poetry is now my dialogue, right?
Yes.
And then my interest in love and style and fashion is now my costumes for my characters. And music is always, music is gonna be in the film.
Yeah.
So I took all those little interests
the sound
I had.
of the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I took everything I had interest in and I put it into film. And I was like, oh, finally a thing that I think I could want to do that incorporates all the other things that I have interest in but don't want to do.
Yeah, so that came from you working at
Came from me just working at a movie theater, and just getting into movies from that and learning more about them. So I switched my major like in my early 20s.
Where were you going to school?
Where? Western.
Western.
Yep.
Okay.
I entered as an art major and I dropped it because I was just like, I don't want to do art for a living. It's just And so I was in communications just to do something. Mm-hmm. And then I switched to film. And then I dropped out for I guess I quit. No, I dropped out because I think I had to reapply. I can't remember. I left because I was just like, I don't need it. I can just make movies. And so I left. And then at some point I realized that if I went to school for 1 year, fall semester, spring, one more fall semester. Yes. Oh, and summer. Uh-huh. I'd graduate. So it was just 1 year of school, like a calendar year almost.
Yes.
And so I said, okay.
I can do this.
So I just went back and just to get the degree.
Yeah.
I don't regret it. I do regret graduation. I think college graduations are, I think that we can do better at catering to the students who are in the auditorium to graduate. I think that they give a generic blanketed speech that doesn't inspire people the same way. You got filmmakers in here with education people. So the thing you're going to say that education people are going to feel different from us as filmmakers. We're artists. We're going to have it tough. Yeah. We got to get out there and you're educators. You're going to have it tough in a different way. And I just felt like and I know it's difficult. I'm not being naive about that.
Yes.
But I do think that I'm sitting in the auditorium going, who is he talking to?
Oh, that's on that speaker.
Yeah,
that's on that speaker.
Because I felt like who's he addressing? Because there's like four
know
different
your
classes
audience.
in here.
Yes.
I think that he could have just been like, for the education majors in here, this.
Yes.
For the film, video, and media studies majors, this. And for you guys, but then that would require work. They would have to write so many speeches.
And then for all you humans sitting out there.
You know what really lost me, the human part?
Yeah.
They reminded us not to forget to donate at our graduation.
Oh my God!
We're sitting here about to go into college debt, and they're reminding us not to forget to donate.
Oh my
God.
God!
I checked out so hard at that.
That
moment.
was an insult.
I checked out. I said this.
That was an insult.
It was 100%. I was like,
because if you're following your passion, you might not even make money for the first few years.
I'm still worried about how I'm gonna pay off the debt that's gonna start accruing in 6 months, and you're telling us not to forget to donate back to the university, sir. Not the time, not the place. And so I checked out after that.
Tone deaf.
And it was 100% tone deaf.
Yes.
And that's why I say I'm glad I got the degree. I'm mad I didn't skip the graduation, but I know my mother wanted to see me.
Yes,
see it, so
indeed.
I went for her.
It's for the parent. Graduations are for family.
I went for her. So
yeah.
But I got in filmmaking from working in the theater. And I've been into
and
it
then you
since.
got into it, and you got a degree. So because we only have 10 minutes left, really.
Oh, man.
I cannot believe this.
That was quick. I didn't know there was a time limit.
I told you it was going to go by fast.
I'd have stopped talking.
No, this has been fabulous. Right, audience? Fabulous. So, what have been some of the best moments you've had as a filmmaker?
Recently we went to Grand Rapids and we won an audience award, which I was shocked by. because Kalamazoo does things so much differently. Kalamazoo just, in my opinion, my experience,
Yes.
just don't support each other the same way.
Oh.
It's just it's everyone supports the people that they really know.
Yes, yes.
And then everything else. The Kalamazoo Film Society, we do a showcase every year. I've literally seen people come in, watch the film that they're associated with, and then duck out of the rest of the program. Like all these other filmmakers,
please don't.
just watch the program. It's a 2-hour event,
Yes.
you know. I did a fellowship here. I'll tell this really quick. I did a fellowship here in 2022. It was a year-long fellowship where they took 6 black filmmakers from the area, and we did a fellowship, and we were supposed to create this project to display in December. And it was supposed to be this big red carpet thing. It was supposed to be this really big event. And just the people who knew I was doing this didn't show. And I mean, not everybody. There were people who showed, and the people who showed know that I appreciate them. But there's a lot of people who didn't show. I even had somebody straight up ask me, "Yo, when is the fellowship thing?" I was like, "Oh, it's next Saturday or it's next Sunday," and then still didn't show. People just didn't show. Okay, and then they're the first people who say, "Hey, where can I see your movie?" You can't, because you were supposed to see it at the event. That's the point.
Right.
Because my film specifically was played and accompanied by live pianists. So the score was a live piano being played while you watch the movie. So it was a part of the experience.
Yes.
And so people were like, "Well, can I see it online?" No, because the experience
is the moment.
But that's Kalamazoo for you. We don't really. I did a poetry show that people know about, and I saw somebody who I'm very close with, so it's okay. But like, I saw somebody the Monday after the show. They said, "I mean, you had a poetry show, didn't you? How did that go?" I said, "So you knew. So where were you?" You know, and that's just Kalamazoo. But we go to Grand Rapids, and I don't know anybody there, and we show this film, and we win an Audience Choice Award, which is crazy because it's the audience, and there's so that made me realize, like, okay, there is communities out here that just unbiasedly support people. They just support the event.
Yes.
And I really wish that our community can get better about that, just showing up for people who are doing things.
Show up. So you hear that, guys? Show up. Show up. I totally get it. I totally get it.
And I can be better about it, but I try to show up as many things as I possibly can.
Yeah.
You got to show at Bell's, I'm going to show up. You may not see me there, but I came.
I was there.
Yeah, I was there.
I support.
It. Yeah, you know, because I saw you were doing something. It has nothing to do with me. It's not.
It's so important.
That was a recent accomplishment that was nice. But just in general, the people I work with, getting to work on something that's not a, client thing. We were talking earlier how I don't like to do client work because you just get so. I can't even think of a phrase I like to use now, but you just don't want to do it. You don't want to do your own thing.
Yes.
Because you've worked on everyone else's thing so much that by the time I heard somebody once say, they were like, you can't give your boss 8 hours a day, and then you come home and you can't even give your thing 10 minutes.
Oh,
right?
That's scary.
And it's so true.
And it happens.
It happens. We get home from work and we're too tired to do the thing that we wanted to do.
And we say, oh, well, I'm just going to work this job. I'm just going to give it a little bit. And then when I get home, I'm really going to go, no. We just talked about you only get so much energy in a day.
Yeah.
And if most of your energy is going out for somebody else.
Going out to somebody else.
When you get to replenish, recharge that battery. When you sleep, but then when you get up, you're going back to that
You're going right back to work. So I make sure that I give myself
Yes.
the time in the evening.
Wonderful.
Even if it's 10 minutes of writing.
Wonderful.
Because you can't,
Good for you.
But you get burned out. That's the thing I was looking for earlier. You get burned out when you work for other people. And then, and then you go, hey, man, why haven't you made something for yourself? Yeah, man, I'm just so tired when I get through, doing this all the time.
Yes.
And so I intentionally avoid doing client work.
Okay.
Because I've also had the worst experiences.
Oh.
They want to change the most creative things that you have. They want to change your music. They want to change your shot. They want this cookie cutter thing, and you're going, why did you hire an artist to give you a cookie cutter version of thing? You could have hired anybody for that.
Indeed.
And so I just don't enjoy the experience.
Yeah,
so
I understand. I so get it. I so get it. Tell me about the Kalamazoo Film Society, because I joined the Kalamazoo Film Society shortly after moving here, because I was an English major, and we had to learn about film, because it's just another genre. And I fell in love with film.
I hate saying this out loud. I don't hate saying this out loud because I believe it. I would rather enjoy the movie than the book. In regards of if it's an adaptation, I'd rather watch the movie first. Because what happens is you read the book and then the movie just doesn't hit the same because they just miss things. I'm like,
but the movie has to zero in it has a different job.
It does, but then what happens is you go, oh, you know what? No. In the book, that thing happened. What did they didn't? So now I watch the movie first.
Yeah.
Because I want to enjoy the movie.
Yes.
I'm a filmmaker.
Indeed.
And then I'll go read the book.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, okay. Oh, they didn't touch on this in the movie, but that's okay. I got to enjoy the experience of the movie first.
Indeed.
But the Kalamazoo Film Society, we try to support a vibrant cinematic community here in Southwest Michigan. We bring kind of niche films to Celebration Cinema, which is who our partners are right now.
Yeah.
So we just try to bring niche films for a discounted rate, which you make your money back like within the first 2.5 movies you see or something like that. And we try to do currently working on doing more events. It's tough because we're a board of volunteers, so it's just about the time. But we try to support filmmakers and filmmaking events in the area as much as we can. So we're if people need something that we can do, we try to help.
Yes.
And we're getting better about really understanding if we can help.
Yes.
Instead of just going, oh, they want us to do what? Yeah, it sounds like work. But lately I've been because we had a conversation. I'm like, oh, I think that they just thought this, and I'm like, oh, but we didn't really ask those questions. And so I'm trying to get it better where we're asking the questions about, can we actually help? What do these people need, and is this something we can do within the realms of our connections?
Yes.
And if it is, then we should be helping because that is a part of the mission. That's literally the mission. So.
More people, because I know that there are a lot of movie buffs out there like me, and I like promoting film. I like people having that movie experience. You cannot have that movie experience on Netflix.
No, yeah.
I enjoy
being in the theater with other people laughing at the same time, gasping
and
at the same time.
And you are totally there. You cannot go to the bathroom. I mean, you're going to miss something. You can't pause it. You can't
pause it and walk away to cook dinner.
You cannot knit while you're watching a movie in the cinema.
You're immersed right there.
And you are just immersed in this experience when you're in the theater. I would love to, I act at the Civic now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and when people come, they know I've got to be here for 2.5, 3 hours. So I'm committed to this moment, this experience. But most of our audiences are older. This Civic younger generation.
I was just at Farmers Alley last week, and they were an older audience. I was walking. I was like, "Holy shit! Where are the young people?" Where?
That is part of what you guys have to do.
Kalamazoo Film Society is the same way, though. The people who show up are the older community.
I know.
And our younger people, why can't we show up just like that? I mean, these people who show up to Farmers Alley probably know nobody in the play, but they're just showing up because they're supporting Farmers Alley.
They support and they love theater.
And they love the theater.
They love theater.
I wrote a stage play that I'm excited to hopefully do next year.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'm breathing down their necks about it.
Wonderful.
I'm really excited about it.
So, how do we get film into schools? How do we get film study into not colleges, but get it into Maple Street?
I've not been there in so long that I know at Millwood is a magnet school for technology, and they were teaching kids editing things that I was showing up going, how the heck he do that? He's 12.
Oh, but they do have because I subbed. I work as a sub from time to time, but I had to stop because it was interfering with me and my dreams. So I understand what you're saying about giving all
you get burned
of this,
out.
and then you get home and you're like, oh, I'm gonna spend 2 hours, and next thing you know, no. So we only have a couple of minutes, but let's have a conversation.
I think
let's have more public conversation.
I think that's what starts it
with untapped audiences.
I took a film production class in high school, which I didn't realize was going to be crucial for me later.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But in that teacher was he was awesome, So I just think you need teachers who are passionate about it, who will take the time to teach teach it and let the kids make something.
Yes.
Making the film watching the film is one thing. They might doze off, they might horseplay around, but having to make the film,
having to do hands-on,
and then watching it in front of the class and getting feedback, that's what makes you really passionate about it, because
Yes.
you see your work and you see things you could change, and
Yeah.
you say, next time I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And then somebody raises their hand and they say, hey man, you did this thing and it was really amazing. And then you go, shoot, I didn't even realize I did that.
I didn't realize I did it.
You know,
Let me
yeah.
just give a plug for Public Media Network, because that's exactly what public media does. It gives young people and it gives students an opportunity to create your own, make your own work. To go through the changes, to go through the grind, to get that grit in your spirit, in your body, where you know, I have a product, I'm going to make it, I am committed to making it, and no matter what, I am going to finish. I have a deadline, I'm going to reach that deadline, and I'm going to give my absolute best. There is nothing like that. Parents, teachers, leaders, whomever is listening at this point. Have young people get some grit. Help them get grit, not grits, but grit, by holding them accountable for a project, something that they do, no matter what it is. One last question, because we've run out of time, but I have one last question. Where do you see yourself in 20 years?
20 years.
Yeah, 20.
I hope I've made a couple of features, and maybe
Not I hope.
and
I
a
will have
stage
made
play. I made a couple features and some stage plays. I really
some
am.
Tony Award winning stage plays.
Oh, girl. Yeah.
Yes.
I really do enjoy
Claim it.
I do
Claim
enjoy
it.
writing that way.
You're an
Yeah.
eagle.
I'm an eagle.
You can be up there
That's
with the
20 years,
others.
and I hope I still look the same.
I
We
will
talked
look the
about this.
same. And his next short film is called Moisturize.
It's not really, but yes,
That's coming.
That just is so.
I love it.
It feels implicative, and I don't know of what. So.
Moisturize. And that, on that note, thank you so much for this conversation.
appreciate you
It was
having me.
lovely.
Absolutely.
It was brilliant.
Fastest hour ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
So everybody out there, remember, all stories matter. Tell your story. And if people don't want to listen, tell it to somebody else. And remember, there's a difference between pigeons and eagles. You see a lot of pigeons everywhere. You don't see that many eagles. Be an eagle and then soar with the eagle. Just remember, all stories matter. You want somebody to listen to your story, be willing to listen to theirs first. Thank you, and see you next time.